Hello friends, today's topic is ionic equilibrium. Michael Faraday classified substances into two, mainly depending upon the conducting nature, that is electrolytes and non-electrolytes. What's non-electrolytes? The solution of some substances does not contain any ion and they are bad conductors of electricity. Such substances are known as electrolyte. For example, solution of urea, solution of glucose, they will not get ionized. That means ionic conduction will not be taking place. Ionic conduction means conduction due to the movement of ions. That will not be taking place in some cases. Such solutions, substance of solutions are known as non-electrolytes. Okay, the solution of some substances do not contain any ion. That means when we dissolve in water or other suitable solvents, it will not undergo dissociation. That means, for example, HCl when dissociate will be giving H plus ions and Cl minus ion. Like that, it will not take place. For example, urea, glucose, this kind of molecules, when we add water or the suitable solvent, it will not dissociate into ions. Such substances are known as non-electrolytes. They will not conduct electricity also. They will not conduct electricity. The second category is electrolytes. So just opposite to that non-electrolytes, they conduct electricity, and when we dissolve in the suitable solvent, it will dissociate into their corresponding ions. For example, HCl or NaOH. NaOH dissolved in water, it will dissociate into Na plus and OH minus ion. Corresponding cations and anions will be formed when we dissolve or add into the suitable solvent. Such substances are known as electrolytes. Again, electrolytes are classified into two categories. First one, strong electrolyte, and second one is weak electrolyte. What do you mean by strong electrolyte? Strong electrolytes are dissociated completely in solution and they are good conductor of electricity. That means, for example, HCl, NaOH, all these are example for strong electrolyte. What is very strong electrolyte? When we take 10 molecules of NaOH, all the 10 molecules will undergo dissociation and you will be getting 10 Na plus ions and 10 OH minus ion. If it is 100% completion, 100% dissociation is taking place, such type of electrolytes are known as strong electrolyte. They are good conductors of electricity also. Example I said already, that is HCl, NaOH, KCl. All these substances, when we dissolve in water, they will undergo complete dissociation or ionization. Then second category is weak electrolyte. They never completely dissociate, but they will dissociate, but 100% dissociation will not be taking place. Only few molecules will undergo ionization. That means if you take 10 molecules of any weak electrolyte, ammonium hydroxide, phosphoric acid, HCN, only few molecules will undergo dissociate. Other molecule will be remain as undissociated molecule itself. But they are also conducting nature, but their conducting character is very less or poor than the strong electrolytes. So in this chapter, we are learning about weak electrolytes in detail. So once again, substances are classified into two: electrolytes and non-electrolytes. Again, that electrolytes can be classified into two: strong and weak electrolytes. Strong electrolytes are good conductor of electricity, whereas weak electrolytes are poor conductor of electricity. Poor conductors, which in the sense ionic conduction is less. And when we are comparing it with strong electrolyte, that is 100% dissociation is not possible in the case of weak electrolyte, but in the case of strong electrolyte, that is possible. Okay. Consider the dissociation of a weak electrolyte AB. AB will dissociate as A plus ions and B minus ion. So in the solution of a weak electrolyte, there is an equilibrium which is established between the ions and unionized electrolyte. As I said, weak electrolyte will not undergo ionization completely. So in the reaction mixture, there will be ions and unionized molecules also will be there. So there will be an equilibrium between these two species, that is ions as well as unionized electrolyte. Such equilibrium is known as ionic equilibrium. What is the ionic equilibrium? Ionic equilibrium is the equilibrium established between the ions as well as the unionized electrolytes. Then the extent of that ionization can be explained using a new term, and that is known as degree of ionization or degree of dissociation. That is the fraction of the fraction of total number of molecules that undergo ionization or dissociation is known as degree of ionization, that is expressed by the letter alpha. So what is alpha? Alpha means the fraction of total molecules that undergo ionization or dissociation is called degree of ionization. Okay, so what is that? The extent of ionization. The extent of ionization can be explained using the term degree of ionization alpha, and alpha is equal to amount of electrolyte ionized divided by initial amount. Starting how many molecules were there, that number has to be taken in the denominator. That's what we said, the fraction of total number of molecules that undergo ionization or dissociation. That term is known as degree of ionization. So the extent of ionization can be explained using alpha. Okay. Next topic is acids and bases. There are three different concepts of acids and bases. The first concept is Arrhenius concept. Arrhenius acids and bases. What is that? According to Arrhenius concept, acid is a substance which is ready to donate H plus ions in their solution. Acids are the substances which can donate H plus ions in solution. Such substances are known as acids, and bases are the substances which donate OH minus ion in their solution, and that is known as bases. So examples for acids which is given is HCl, HNO3, sulfuric acid. All these acids, when dissociate in water, they will be giving corresponding cations and anions. Cation in the sense they will be donating protons. Such substances are known as acids, and similarly NaOH, KOH, all these substances, when it will dissolve in water, it will be giving Na plus ions and OH minus ion. So the substances which can donate both H plus ions are said to be acids, and substances which can donate OH minus ions in their solution are said to be bases. Okay, this is according to the first concept, that is Arrhenius concepts of acids and bases. So what is the special character of water? Water is amphoteric in nature because water will dissociate as H plus ions and OH minus ion. It will give both H plus ions and OH minus ions, so that we will be telling that water is amphoteric in nature. And how many H plus ions are giving? According to that, we can say that basicity of an acid. For example, so HCl will dissociate as H plus and Cl minus. That means it will give only one proton. That is, basicity of that acid is equal to 1. Similarly, if you are taking sulfuric acid, the molecular formula is H2SO4. It will dissociate as 2H plus plus SO4 2 minus. That means 2 protons. Along with that one sulfate anion will be giving during that dissociation of sulfuric acid. So in that case, basicity, that means number of proton is equal to proton dissociated, or protons given by that sulfuric acid molecule is equal to 2. So this is the first concept, very simple concept, Arrhenius concept, the substances which is ready to donate H plus or OH minus ion. Okay, once again, the substances which is ready to donate H plus is said to be acid. The substances which is ready to donate OH minus ions are said to be bases in their solution. The second concept is Lewis concept. We have heard that scientist named Lewis. He said that acids are substances which can accept one or more than one pair of lone electron. Lone pair electrons means the electrons which are not taking part in chemical reaction. Is it? So if it is accepted by that atom or species, such species are said to be acid, and the species which is ready to donate lone pair of electron, such species are said to be Lewis bases. For example, AlCl3 is an example for Lewis acid, whereas ammonia is an example for base. When we draw the Lewis dot structure of ammonia on the nitrogen atom, there will be one pair of lone electron. We have drawn that figure already in second chapter or fourth chapter. So in that one, we can say clearly mention there is one lone pair of electron, and using that lone pair of electron, it can abstract one H plus ion which is electron deficient, and it can form a covalent bond or coordinate bond with that H plus ions. So such species, that is ammonia, is an example for Lewis base. Okay, so that is the substances which is ready to donate lone pair of electrons are said to be Lewis bases, which is ready to accept the lone pair of electrons, are said to be Lewis acids. Okay, and what is the special character of the Lewis theory is that it does not explain the behavior of protonic acid. How it will be explained? HCl. HCl is an acid that we know, but that acidic character of HCl cannot be explained using the theory Lewis. Lewis theory of acid bases cannot be used for that. Okay, so that is the second theory, and third theory is Bronsted-Lowry concept. The third theory is Bronsted-Lowry concept. According to Bronsted-Lowry theory, the substances which is ready to donate H plus ions are said to be acid itself, as we have explained already in the case of Arrhenius concept. But the base is a substance which is ready to accept H plus ion. Okay, so one difference is that Bronsted-Lowry concept. Acid is a substance which is ready to donate H plus, and if the substance is ready to accept H plus ions, they are said to be Bronsted-Lowry bases. Okay, and the special character of this Bronsted-Lowry concept is that the acid-base pair which differ by one proton is known as its conjugate acid and base pair. Once again, the acid-base pair which differ by one proton is known as conjugate acid-base pair that can be taken. That will be explained soon. Okay, so there are three theories to explain the acidic character of substances or acids. To distinguish acids and bases, we are using three different theories. First one, Arrhenius theory. What is Arrhenius theory? According to Arrhenius theory, the substances which donate H plus ions are said to be acids, and substances which is ready to donate OH minus ions in their solution are said to be bases. The second theory is Lewis concept. The substances which is ready to donate a lone pair of electrons are said to be Lewis bases, and substance which is ready to accept that lone pair of electrons are said to be Lewis acids. Okay, and water is amphoteric in nature because it gives both H plus ions and OH minus ions in their solution. And that third one, Bronsted-Lowry theory, as I said, substances which is ready to donate H plus ions are acids, and accepts H plus ions, they are bases. To understand that concept of conjugate and acid and base, we are taking an reaction, hydrolysis of HCl, acid hydrolysis, that means addition of water into acid. So consider forward reaction only. Consider the forward reaction, that means reaction between HCl and H2O. In this one, we are getting H3O positive and Cl minus ion. That means HCl is donating one H plus and it becomes Cl minus. So the substances which is ready to donate H plus is said to be acid. So HCl is an acid here. Similarly, water. What is happening? H2O is becoming H3O positive by accepting H plus ions. So according to Bronsted-Lowry concept, H2O is a base because it is accepting one H plus ion from HCl and it forms H3O positive. This is in the case of forward reaction. Okay, similarly, consider the backward reaction. What is happening? H3O positive is changing into H2O in the reverse reaction. Backward reaction, just imagine backward reaction. H3O positive is changing into H2O by removing one H plus or donating one H plus. So according to Bronsted-Lowry concept, the substance which is ready to donate H plus is acid. So here it is conjugate acid we are writing. And similarly, chloride ion, what is happening for chloride ion? It is accepting H plus ion. So substance which is accepting anion is H plus ion is said to be base. So we are considering, suppose we are considering the pair water and hydronium ion. They are water is a base, H3 positive is the acid. So they differ by, that is acid base pair which differ by one proton. The difference between these two species is only one proton. Such pairs are known as conjugate acid and base. Clear? Similarly, if you take that HCl and Cl minus. Similarly, if you are taking the pair HCl in the forward reaction, that is the acid, and backward reaction Cl minus is the base. So that is what's the difference between this HCl and Cl minus ion, that only one proton. So that is known as conjugate acid and base pair. So once again, in the case of a conjugate acid base pair, we are supposed to take an reversible reaction, and we have to consider both forward and backward reaction separately. From one side, forward reaction acid if you are taking, from that backward reaction you are supposed to take base. So the acid base pair which differ by one proton is said to be conjugate acid and conjugate acid base pair. Once again, here HCl and Cl minus is the one conjugate acid base pair. Similarly, second pair is water and hydronium ion. H3 positive is the other conjugate acid base pair. So once again, for the exam they will be asking what do you mean by conjugate acid base pair. Very simple one. Okay, so try to understand. And there's universal rule: stronger acid donates proton to the stronger base, and stronger acid have very weak conjugate base. Always keep in mind strong acid will have very weak conjugate base. Similarly, weak acids will have very strong conjugate base. So if you are taking one pair of conjugate acid and base pair, if the acid is very strong, that will be the conjugate base will be very weak, or vice versa. Okay. In organic chemistry, there are some certain water soluble organic compounds which behaves as a weak acid and exhibit different colors in their acidic and conjugate base forms. Such compounds are useful as indicators in acid base titration. For example, phenolphthalein, you know what's the difference will be difference in color in acidic and basic solution. Phenolphthalein will give you a pink color in the basic solution, otherwise it will be giving a colorless solution. So there are some substances which can behave as a weak acid actually, and they exhibit different colors in their acid and conjugate base forms. Such substances are used as indicators in titration. Actually, we are supposed titration in the chemistry lab itself as 11th standard practicals, but this year we are not able to. So such example for such substances, that is indicator is phenolphthalein, methyl orange. So many other examples we have learned. And there's a question in text question number 7.14 and exercise question 7.39. The species H2O, HCO3 minus, HSO4 minus and NH3 can act as both Bronsted acid and bases. For each case, give the corresponding conjugate acid and base. So we have to identify that which is conjugate acids and conjugate bases of the following species. They have given 4 species, so we'll be giving the answer in a tabular column so that it will be very easy for us. The first species is H2O. So conjugate acid, while writing conjugate acid, add one H plus ions so that it will become H3 positive. So that is the conjugate acid. To get the conjugate base, remove one H plus from water so that it will be OH minus. So H3 positive is the conjugate acid of water, and OH minus is the conjugate base of the that water molecule. Similarly, bicarbonate, to get the conjugate acid, what we are supposed to add one more H plus so that it will be H2CO3 only. Carbonic acid H2CO3, and to get the conjugate base, remove one H plus so that it will become CO3 2 minus. So keep in mind that importance of negative charge when we are getting when we are removing one H plus from a negative charge species, it will become -2. That you should keep in mind. Similarly, all other species also can be written. So to get that acid and base, remove or add H plus ion. Okay. That's homework. First question in text question 7.12. What will be the conjugate basis for the following Bronsted acid? So they've given Bronsted acid. So it's very simple. If it is a new substance, which is if you want to write down conjugate acid of this substance, you have to add H plus. If to write down conjugate base of the species, you have to remove that H plus ions. So it's the already which is given. The answers are given in the above question. So it is very easy. So try to do try to solve the problem. Next homework is 7.13 in text question 7.13 and exercise question 7.38. Write the conjugate acids for the following Bronsted bases. The same question, so you can solve that question. Then next question in text question 7.15 and exercise question 7.40 and 36. Classify the following species into Lewis acids and bases and show how these act as such. Okay. The species which is given is HO minus, F minus, H plus, BCl3, H2O, H plus. is it? So classify the following species into Lewis acid and bases. So very simple one, that is which is ready to donate the lone pairs of electron, or which is ready to accept that lone pair of electron. According to that theory, we can classify the species into Lewis acids and bases. So they've given 7 species. Next topic is the ionization constant of water and its ionic product. In pure water, one molecule of water can act as acid, while other molecule acts as a base. So there will be an equilibrium between these two molecules. That means water plus water reversibly gives hydronium ion plus OH minus ion. We have already mentioned that water is amphoteric in nature, that means which can donate both H plus and OH minus ion. So that is what we have written, the first molecule as acid, second molecule as base. Similarly, that reversible reaction, that means conjugate acid and conjugate base. Okay, when we calculate that equilibrium constant for such an equilibrium, the equilibrium constant K is equal to concentration of hydronium into concentration of OH minus ion divided by concentration of water to the power 2. But we know water is a pure liquid, that concentration terms of both the solids and pure liquids will be removed from that equilibrium law, so that the equation becomes Kw is equal to H3 positive into OH minus ion. And here the Kw is known as ionic product of water, which is equal to H plus molar concentration of hydronium ion into molar concentration of OH minus ion. Or we can write down Kw is equal to molar concentration of H plus into that of OH minus ions. That derivation part you can see from on the screen. K is that one can be seen from the screen. That is K is equal to Kw is equal to molar concentration of H plus into molar concentration of OH minus ion, where Kw is known as the ionic product of water, and it is temperature independent. It is temperature independent. The values of the hydronium ion concentration and H plus ion concentration will be always equal, and it is equal to concentration of OH minus ion at 298 Kelvin. That is, it is found that molar concentration of H plus will be equal to H3 positive. That will be always equal at any temperature, but which is equal to OH minus ion at and which is equal to 10 raised to minus 7 molar at 298 Kelvin. The value will be is equal to 10 raised to minus 7 only at the temperature if the temperature is 298 Kelvin. So that Kw can be substituted in that value, so that we will be getting K is equal Kw, that is ionic product of water, is equal to 10 raised to minus 14 molar square at 298 Kelvin. The temperature is important, otherwise the value will be different. So usually when we ask such numericals, the temperature will be given as 298 Kelvin, so that it will be easy for us. But keep in mind, it is temperature. The value of 10 raised to minus 7 will be changed if the temperature is different. If concentration of hydronium ion and OH minus ion equal, then it is neutral. Otherwise, it will be acidic or basic. Next topic is ionization constant of weak base. So we are considering a weak base MOH, that is metal hydroxide. It will dissociate as M plus ions and OH minus ions. Initially, the concentration of that MOH is taken as C, and that concentrations of metal ions and hydroxide ions are taken as 0. Similarly, at equilibrium, the concentration of metal hydroxide is taken as C into 1 minus alpha, where C is the concentration, alpha is the dissociation constant. We have already mentioned that. And concentration of metal ions and hydroxide ions are C alpha, C alpha. The ionization constant of a weak base, that is represented by the letter Kb, is equal to product of molar concentration of the products divided by that of reactant. The same formula we are applying, so that we are getting C alpha into C alpha divided by C into 1 minus alpha. Okay, C alpha into 1 divided by 1 minus alpha. And what's the significance of this ionization constant of weak base? Higher the value of Kb, stronger is the base. The strength of a base can be explained with the help of the parameter Kb, which is known as ionization constant of a weak base. Okay, and Kb is a dimensional quantity, and depending upon the value, we can explain the strength of a base. Similarly, we have the ionization constant of a weak acid, that will be taken written as HX, that is HCl, HBr. X is the one of the halide, so that it will dissociate in water to give hydronium ion and halide ion. Initially the concentration of HX is taken as C, that is concentration, and initially the product concentration will be 0, we know. Similarly, equilibrium concentration of the acid is taken as C into 1 minus alpha. Again, alpha is the degree of ionization, and the concentration of products can be taken as C alpha, C alpha. The same method of calculation. Ionization constant of a weak acid, that is represented by Ka. Previously we have seen that of weak base, so that was Kb. Here it is Ka. The same calculation itself, C alpha into C alpha divided by C into 1 minus alpha. So you can use this formula. What is significance of this Ka? Higher the value of Ka, stronger is the acid. From the equation we can say that acidic character or H plus ion concentration can be expressed in terms of ionization constant of a weak acid Ka. Or for very weak acids, we can take K is equal to C alpha square, where K is the equilibrium constant, then C is the concentration, and alpha is the equilibrium, sorry, degree of ionization, and alpha is directly proportional to square root of concentration. Once again, that ionization constant of weak acid can be calculated as K is equal to Ka is equal to C alpha into C alpha divided by C into 1 minus alpha. The same equation is there for Kb also. And what is the significance of the Ka and Kb? K and Ka and Kb. Ka strong, if the value of Ka is higher, then stronger is the acid. Similarly, in the case of base, stronger will be the base. Okay, so in the bases we will be telling Kb. In the case of acid, we are taking Ka, and the values of Ka and Kb is related to the ionic product of water, that is Kw, as Kw is equal to Ka into Kb. Okay, we know at 298 Kelvin the value of ionic product is equal to 10 raised to minus 14 molar. If you're substituting that value here, we can say that 10 raised to minus 14 is equal to Ka into Kb, where Ka is the ionization constant of weak acid and Kb is the ionic constant of weak base. Now we are telling about pK values. PK value, P stands for negative logarithm. So what will be pKa value? pKa value is equal to minus logarithm of Ka. Similarly, pKb is equal to minus logarithm Kb. So any one factor, if you are taking P value, P stands for in chemistry, that is negative logarithm. What will be pK value? pK is equal to minus log Ka, and pKb is equal to minus log Kb. So in terms of after calculating the value ionization constant, we can take minus logarithm of that value, so that we'll be getting the value pKa and pKb. And the one more result we have, that is the sum of pKa plus pKb should be equal to 14. At 298 Kelvin, we can say that pKa plus the sum of pKa plus pKb value is equal to 14. And what is the significance of this pKa and pKb value? Higher the pK value of pKa, weaker is the acid. Similarly, higher the value of pKb, weaker is the base. That means, for example, they will be giving some acids, some compounds. For that, they will be giving either Ka values and pK values, and you are supposed to arrange the molecules or compounds either in the increasing or decreasing order of their acidic strength. In such question comes, if such a question comes, what you have to do, we have to find out, we have should be keep in mind that higher the value of Ka or smaller the value of pKa, then the acid stronger will be the acid. Similarly, higher the value of Kb or smaller the value of pKb, the stronger will be the base. That means base will be more stronger. Okay, so for exam they will be asking such questions also. So either Ka or pKa. That means pKa is equal to minus logarithm Ka, pKb is equal to minus logarithm. So as I said, for the exam they will be giving some molecules. Either they will be giving that Ka values or pKa or pKb values for some acids or bases, and we have to arrange the molecules either increasing or decreasing order of their acidic strength or basic strength. So depending upon the value, magnitude of this either Ka value which is given or pKa value which in the question which is given, we are supposed to arrange the molecule in the correct order. Such a question you can expect for the exam also. Okay. Now we are having a question, that is exercise question 7.44. The ionization constant of phenol is 10 raised to minus 10. What is the concentration of phenolate ion in 0.05 molar solution of phenol? What will be the degree of its degree of dissociation if the solution is also 0.01 molar in sodium phenolate? So what is that phenol? We know the formula for phenol is C6H5OH, and this C6H5OH will dissociate as C6H5O minus plus H plus. That means phenol is acidic in character, so it will ready to donate H plus ion. We know the molar concentration of C6H5OH minus will be equal to that of H plus, and that will be equal to H3 positive. Always H plus ions and H3 positive ions will be always equal. From that, we have written the equilibrium constant value K is equal to product of concentration of the reactants divided by that of reactant, product of molar concentration of products divided by that of reactant, so that C6H5O minus into H3O concentration divided by the phenol. And the equilibrium constant which is given, the question is 10 raised to minus 10. So 10 raised to minus 10 is equal to 0.01 into molar concentration of hydronium ion divided by 0.05. So we know the concentration of phenol. We know the concentration of phenol was given as 0.05, and sodium phenoxide it was given as 0.01. Only that concentration of hydronium ion or H plus ion is not given. So from that equation you can find out the hydronium ion concentration, that is also can be calculated by formula C alpha, that is K 5 into 10 raised to minus 10 molar. Or from that value we can calculate the alpha, that is equal to 10 raised to minus 8 molar. So this is some special problem. You have to read once again and find out the answer. This is a methodology to find out that answer for that ionization constant, that means degree of ionization they asked, that means alpha they are asking. So from that equation that which was learned by us, that is K is equal to C alpha square. We have seen the degree of ionization of weak acid or and weak base. We have learned using the formula. We have to find out the value of alpha. So in this video we have learned about ionic equilibrium in solution, weak electrolytes, strong electrolytes. Then we have learned the degree of ionization. Then what we have learned that degree of ionization of or ionization constant of weak acid and weak base, ionic product of water, and what finally we have learned about the degree relationship between Ka and Kb, and the relationship between Pk and Pkb. Thank you for watching the video. Study well. Okay, thank you so much.